I developed sort of the structure, the engine for this game, and then I'm trying to translate it in a way that will fit for a video game as well.
Oh, okay.
So like I will have a small prototype for a video game, and then I have this small prototype for the card game.
Because I played the crap out of this.
Oh, good. Everything is meant to be sort of simplified. The objective is sort of to create a board game, like a role-playing game that I could basically use as a format to be code. That's why I'm working off of cards.
Right. Alright, look at the good ones first.
And these are pretty narrow, like, essentially if the game were real, there would be a lot more decks, there would be a lot more plus minuses. This is just sort of a sampling.
I think I am going to attempt to bribe Dr. Asher to get something out of the supply closet.
Okay.
So I start with a pool of 3, correct?
Yep.
And I'm assuming these are our...
Yep, those are your die.
Oh, those are mine. And these are yours, I'm assuming.
So I guess you get 1 because he's susceptible to bribery.
Yes.
I'm also assuming it's a he.
So I would like to do that. So I get 5 dice, and I'm going to roll them.
So you have a pretty good chance.
When we've played, I know that statistically the odds are highly in your favor.
Yeah.
5s. that's a statement.
5s. Extreme success.
So you succeed. And the balancing might be off. This is why I'm testing it.
Oh yeah,
I haven't.
All usability testing.
Yeah, I haven't tested the matching. We might even, if you guys decide that you're succeeding far too much, we can house rule it to change it to different.
So,
what does it say on your bribe card?
She accepts your bribe. Choose one of the items you have collected.
Throughout the game, you would have probably collected something,
okay,
but
we presume this is mid-game.
So let's presume this is mid-game and you have something and you can give it to him just for the sake of letting you use it.
Yeah, that would be the case at which I could use that card.
Yes.
So I bribe him and I increase my relationship value by 2.
Yes, because
so
you have bribed him.
At 7. Yep. Okay.
Before I take my action, I have a question.
Yes.
It says she has to answer all of my questions.
Yes.
Does that mean I don't have to roll if I'm asking her a question? Like,
Yeah.
I automatically succeed?
She has to.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask her what's happening and get the info card without having to roll.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you can just, you don't necessarily have to, you don't keep that card, you basically like look at it, read it. You can share it with,
So multiple people.
you can share it with your fellow players if you want, but,
Or you can be a jerk.
or you can just keep it to yourself and, you know, keep the plot to yourself.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
So, and exactly what does that, like, get me?
That essentially, if the game were to continue on, it would basically feed into the story.
Okay.
Because
Again,
this
we have to
game,
consider this is an isolated event.
this is an isolated event in a game that would have more events. Like, you can see there's hospital next event. You can move into that, but like in this playthrough, but there's not as much content. Normally there would be other places like the factory or the school or this, and they would all have sort of their own things to it. So it would play into the rest of the story that you're building.
Do I draw to replace
Yes.
that?
And shuffle that back into your deck.
But I think I actually know what my next action is.
Okay.
Because I have buttered up Dr. Asher. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convince him to steal something.
All right.
So I get my 3 dice as a base. I get an extra die, I believe, because we like each other now more. Mm-hmm. I get an extra die because I'm convincing someone to steal. And that's, I think, it.
Mm-hmm.
And I roll. And
That's
those are
all threes. So you basically can write those items on the back of your character sheet, and that's your inventory.
Okay. This is, oh boy.
For my turn, I'm going to convince him to let me help. That gives me a bonus from being able to talk to people.
Know what's in there.
And I believe that's the only
Crazy.
bonus I get. So I have 4 dice.
And
I get 2 threes.
All right.
So my relationship with him goes up by 2. And we move to the next location.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to flirt with Hannah, the receptionist, to see if I can increase my chances of getting information out of her. However, this is not going to be my strong suit. I don't believe. Yeah. So I'm just going to be rolling 3 dice, I believe. But Hannah is susceptible to flirtation. Oh wait, no, that does give me a bonus dice if she is susceptible. And roll. And I did not match anything.
I will attempt to bribe Samantha. She's susceptible to bribery, so I get a dice from that, or a die from that, rather singular. And I believe, again, that's the only bonus I get. Okay.
Full house, kind of. I'm gonna ask her on a date and get like legitimately no bonuses. Like, maybe she thinks she'll get some free food out of it or something. Nope.
Nope. You're not having good luck today. She is not interested.
Would I really expect her to be interested? No, not really.
I'm going to ask Brutus what's happening, because he has all the answers and likes to brag about it. That should give me a dice. Nope.
Nope.
I, however, am going to do the same thing to Hannah. Maybe a slightly less intimate approach is warranted.
I know when I did that, I
Yeah, you
didn't
can
roll
just
for it.
get the
Yeah.
information.
She's required to answer.
I'm
So
on-
now everyone knows.
Ah. Interesting.
I think we've almost found all the content.
Yeah, basically.
Well, you have.
Right.
He hasn't even been to the other spot. He's too busy trying to ask out the chicks.
I knew everything, but I didn't get a date.
Well, to be fair, I didn't get one either.
Wow. So I'm going to use investigate to factor in all dice modifiers. So I get 1 from her liking me, and 1 from him liking to brag about having the answers.
Okay. You guys can feel free to see if that, like, if you both agree with that.
I have no qualms about that.
Okay.
so-
I wouldn't have interpreted it that way, but like I said, the rules are open to interpretation for you guys.
There are your
There's
fives.
5s. So I get this info card. Okay.
I'm going to convince Dr. Asher to let me help. Because I need to get out of the hospital. However, because my relationship is higher, I get an extra die. And I match my 5s.
Yay.
So I increase my relationship with him by 2 again.
He just loves you.
But I'm leaving him now. So I am moving over to the quarantine room.
So I'm going to use my turn to roll to try to make the patients accept treatment. And I get 1 die because I'm trying to convince someone.
That, you probably don't understand that. That is
It's on the
something
info
that's
card.
on the
Okay.
info card. You will be able to do it as well once you acquire the info card.
I intend to.
And I
Nice.
succeed. And that raises my relationship with everyone in the room by 1.
The next thing I'm going to do is, because I just love people, is I'm going to attempt to seduce Brutus.
Good.
Obviously, that's the most rational thing.
He's definitely seducible.
Yes, and I'm going to attempt to seduce him. So I get an extra die because of that. And I didn't match anything.
Today's not a day for romance.
But all he does is ignore me, so. Never said I was good at it.
I will ask Samantha out on a date.
Ooh.
And I get a bonus because she likes me.
Really?
Hey!
She does like you.
Hey!
She says yes.
And then theoretically you would transition to the date minigame, but I don't have that in existence, so just assume you have a good time.
Cool.
You have a successful date.
Hurrah.
Also, because I shuffled this and ended up with the same card again, I'm going to try again. Because,
Because Brutus is a studly man.
yes, and I want him. And I like how his flavor text is, what are you looking at, asshole? I am luckier in love this time. Much luckier. I seem to like rolling threes.
You go on a nice date with Brutus.
No, not yet. I just
Oh, you seduce Brutus, so
which
he
means
likes
my
you.
relationship value goes up by 1. So I'm now at 6 with him.
I'm going to convince Brutus to steal this item, whatever it is. And I think I take a penalty for this, but I get a bonus because I'm trying to convince him to do something. And I get a bonus because he likes me.
And you get it because you
Yep.
got force.
I have so many drugs.
Yeah. Well, you're in the hospital.
You can join the party with me. I had drugs a long time ago.
I am a walking pharmacy.
Well, I'm going to also investigate.
Oh, you want to know that information.
Yes, I do. And so I have 3. I add a die because Brutus likes me. And I believe he also said that he likes to brag about that he has all the answers. So that adds another die. I don't think I get anything out of Samantha, actually. So
Oh, like in...
in terms of bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get anything here. So there are 3s and 6s. So I am going to finally read this info card that Buddy has had for like 4 turns. Yeah,
So you guys have pretty much, played through the demo.
I'm going to spend my turn to take all 5 bottles of painkillers I got and kill myself.
You
Okay.
got 5. Get on my level. I got 10.
Well, you also could kill yourself twice.
Is that all you got?
And a first aid kit.
Oh, okay. Wow, there was significantly more not in the quarantine room.
Yeah.
I had 10 bottles of painkillers, a first aid kit, and 3 syringes, presumably unfilled, but maybe not.
Four dice generally gives you a 50-50 chance. I know this from too much rolling in this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I gave
Way too
you.
much.
That's why I give you 3 by default. As it stands, matching something gives you success. If you have any suggestions on how to make it harder, I would love them.
You could adjust the difficulty of a roll by saying you have to match over a certain number.
Yeah, it could be you have to match 4s, 5s,
Like
or
the
6s.
easy rolls could be you just have to match something.
Ah,
Harder rolls could
like-
be you have to match 3 or higher.
3 or higher. Okay, that makes sense. Something that I would like to incorporate into a finalized version of the game is this idea of motivation, where I have a list that I've written up, but since this is such a condensed version of the game, I didn't feel the need to incorporate it. But basically, you could choose motivation from a list, and one of them is to find love. So that's where the dating games would come in to play. What do you guys think about the gameplay, or about sort of my implications on how, these cards would sort of feed the story, which would be the rest of the map?
This really reminds me of something that's kind of like a visual novel-esque sort of thing. Like, that's kind of how it's constructed. Not necessarily like otome games, like dating games or anything, but like the visual novel structure with a little more game mechanics behind it, because there's the dice and stuff like that. Oh my god, I can't believe I can't remember what this game is called that was like this. Because I'd just like to point you in other things so you could find other ideas, especially on how things are already being constructed, and maybe you want to put new twists on that. I like it. I want to play more.
I enjoy the system. I think the biggest things it needs is more content, which this is beta test.
That's
Yeah.
not really
That
the
was assumed,
discussion here,
essentially, and also a concrete win condition.
which is also
Yes.
probably in content.
That's also sort of
I don't know if that's something we're planning.
That's something that I've played around with. What's the word? The motives would turn into a win condition. Basically, if you meet your motive, you've won.
Okay, so like the way you score things in Everyone is John, where like the number of times you accomplished your goal,
Basically.
multiplied by how difficult that goal is, gives you some sort of score.
Or there's a special route that you have to take. Like there's something that you have to do, but it's at the hospital, and only you can do it. And the story kind of leads you there.
Yeah.
That's an idea.
That's essentially
That's
what
a
I
more
would be going for.
concrete One, although the easier one to pull off and the more flexible one would be, you have this certain thing and you have to accomplish it a certain amount of times.
I think I like the certain amount of times one better just because
It's more flexible.
I didn't want to. The main idea was I didn't want to drive you in any particular way. I wanted you to have the freedom to go to whichever building you want and do whichever things you want, and I didn't want to railroad you.
Mm-hmm.
So having you be able to accomplish your goals in different ways would be the desired
Right.
route
that
for the
idea
game.
can be played with.
The one thing I see with incorporating that system as a win condition is a win condition that does not necessarily dictate when the game ends.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
Which I don't know how I feel about like no concrete end of the game. It works for a few games,
Mm-hmm.
like Cards Against Humanity and Apples to Apples, same game essentially.
Which are the same game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it would work for something like this. You might want to have something that says when, at the very least, like when so much time has elapsed, the game ends, or whenever someone has done the following, or all of the following have happened, the game ends.
Yeah. I do agree with the fact that there is
That
no
actually
end
is
game.
a good idea. Kind of having like a checklist.
Yeah.
It could even be a randomly generated checklist.
Yeah, like you have to be like, you mentioned like the gang war in this certain thing, like maybe in a very, high stakes sort of game, you could be like, oh, one of your goals is like assassinate the gang leader or something, or something like, maybe not even to that
Like a
extent, but-
party goal.
Yeah, or it could be a personal one, and everyone is kind of pursuing their own goals towards the end. But those goals, it doesn't say how you do it.
Yeah.
It just says you
Right,
have
like
to.
resolve the gang war, and you could do it by assassing gang leaders,
Actually, that's a
joining
good
one
way
of
of
the
doing
gangs
it.
and winning it.
Yeah, like there's all sorts of ways you can do that.
That's a good way to word it.
There's an end goal, but multiple ways of approaching it.
And obviously some incentive to do so.